In this section, we're talking about quadratics, and the graph of a quadratic, a degree 2 equation, is a parabola. And our parabola in standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So I have two equations here, two functions that are in standard form. And if I go ahead and take a look at these functions, I'm going to change this one a little bit and make that a 4. And then I've got the other one in here. We can take a look at these graphs one at a time. So if I graph them, the first one is this one. Notice it opens up. The second one opens downward. What determines whether it opens up or down is the number in front of the x squared, or the a term. If a is greater than 0, or it's a positive number, it's going to open upward. If the a, in this case -2, is less than 0, then the parabola opens downward. The a determines that. So if I look back here and I go in and I change that, instead of positive x squared, I insert a -1 and then graph it, I should see that they both now open downward. There's the first one. There's the second one. So the negative in front makes it open down, positive in front makes it open up. So let me delete that out and make it open up again. So the lowest point on that first parabola that went in is a minimum point. That minimum point down here is called the vertex. Since it opens up, we have a minimum point, and we also have a minimum value. We'll talk about that in a minute. If it opens downward, we still have a vertex, but now our vertex is a maximum point. Okay, so we know which way it opens by looking at A. How do we find what that point is? And it's really quite easy. There's a formula for it. The x part of that point is found by using the formula -b over 2a. We're not going to derive that, we'll just assume. So then I go in and I plug in the 4 for b, the negative is part of the formula, and then 2 times a. So -4 divided by 2 is -2. The vertex then was at -2, but to find the y part of that, I need to take my number and plug it back into the equation to find the y value. So everywhere there's an x, I'm putting in -2. Watch the parentheses when you put in a negative, and then evaluate. So 4 minus 8 plus 6 gives me, what, 2? So there's my vertex. Okay, so if I take a look at my graph, right here at -2, +2 is the lowest point on that graph. Because this is opening upward, we said we had a minimum point. We also have a minimum value. The minimum value is the y part of that function. That's the lowest value on that entire graph. So the minimum value is 2. And we also have something called an axis of symmetry. It's a vertical line that's going to cut right down the middle of that graph. So again, if I'm looking at this graph, cutting it straight down the middle, it's going to be x equals, because you're going to hit the x-axis. And where it hits the x-axis is the x part of the point. So this has an equation x equals -2. That's the axis of symmetry.